Hello and a very warm welcome to all DSSC and officers appearing for the Part D examination. You're watching a channel that's completely dedicated to making your journey smoother and more efficient. We understand, at this crucial point in time, you're all busy revising, trying to recall everything you've studied over the past few months. And that's exactly why we're here, to make your preparation not just easier, but smarter. From the very beginning of our sessions, we've focused on building simple, effective mnemonics to help you understand and retain concepts better. These tricks have proven to be a game changer for many of you. Now, a quick update for all of you following along with our current affairs series. We've successfully completed July current affairs up to the 15th of July. For those who have subscribed to the hard copy, don't worry, all notes have already been sent for printing and will reach you soon. And for those who have opted for the soft copy, you'll be receiving it within a week. Until then, we highly recommend you watch this video in full. It will help you stay updated and understand the content in a simpler, visual format. And yes, if any of you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, this is the time. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any important updates, tips, or content that could make all the difference. Still want to get the soft or hard copy of our curated notes? No problem, feel free to contact us through the details provided. Remember, our aim is simple. After going through all the topics, we want you to clear these subjects confidently. And here's something that might give you even more confidence. All the mock tests conducted by USI and PSMP at the School of Artillery have confirmed that a majority of the questions are from the topics we've already covered. So if you are still on the fence, don't miss this opportunity. Reach out and get your copy today. Alright then, without any further delay, let's dive into part 1 of the July month current affairs. Stay sharp, stay focused, and let's crack it together. Let's move to our studio where our correspondent will discuss this month current affairs in detail.
Thank you, Kavya. Welcome once again to all our DSSC and Part D exam aspirants. Let's begin with question number 1, which states, define the DRUM app and its primary objective. State the key features and significance of this application in the context of urban governance and public health. Suggest how such technological innovations can be integrated into policy frameworks for sustainable urban mobility. Conclude by evaluating its potential impact on citizen well-being and environmental decision-making. 2. Answer this. Let's begin with the definition and main purpose of the DRUM app. DRUM stands for Dynamic Route Planning for Urban Green Mobility. It is a web-based application developed by IIT Kharagpur. Its main aim is simple but powerful, to help people find real-time, eco-friendly travel routes. These routes are designed to reduce exposure to air pollution and promote green and healthy mobility in cities. In short, DRUM is not just about reaching faster, it's about reaching cleaner. Now let's look at the key features that make this app unique and useful. The DRUM app offers 5 types of routes, depending on what you need. The shortest route, the fastest route, LEAP, which stands for Least Exposure to Air Pollution, LECR, Least Energy Consumption Route, and a balanced route that considers time, distance, and pollution. It uses real-time data from trusted sources like the Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, and the World Air Quality Index. Even in areas where data is limited, DRUM still functions well, thanks to smart tools like Graph-Hopper and Mapbox. Another smart feature is that users can choose routes based on their mode of travel, walking, biking, or driving. The app also focuses on reducing the time spent in polluted areas, which is called exposure time optimization. Looking ahead, the app is future-ready with crowdsourced data from users and a smarter version, DRUM 2.0, which will use machine learning for even better suggestions. With these features in mind, let's understand why DRUM is important for urban governance and public health. For urban governance, DRUM brings in data-driven decision-making. It supports the growth of smart mobility and helps governments create better city plans. From a public health point of view, The app helps reduce air pollution exposure by up to 50%. It supports preventive healthcare by encouraging cleaner travel routes. It especially protects vulnerable groups like walkers, cyclists, and those using public transport who are most exposed to pollution. Now the question is, how can we bring DRUM into real-world government policies? There are many ways DRUM can be integrated into policy for sustainable urban mobility. Include it in smart city mission plans. Make it a part of urban transport policies. Promote public-private partnerships to expand its reach. Use its data to support pollution control and emission reduction strategies. By doing this, DRUM can become a part of everyday planning for healthier, smarter cities. Finally, let's evaluate how DRUM impacts both citizens and the environment. For citizens, DRUM provides safer and cleaner routes, reduces health risks related to air pollution, helps people make informed decisions while commuting. For the environment, it supports evidence-based planning, encourages sustainable travel habits, helps in designing low-emission zones and green travel corridors. With this, we finish question 1. Now, let's move to question number 2. Now, moving to the next question, which states, define the Axiom 4, Ax-4, space mission and outline its objectives. State the mission's international collaboration framework and its significance for India's space ambitions. Suggest how such multinational missions contribute to scientific progress and strategic diplomacy. Conclude by evaluating the long-term benefits of India's participation in Ax-4 for its indigenous space programs. Alright, to answer this, let's begin by understanding what the Axiom 4 or Ax-4 mission is and what it aims to achieve. Ax-4 is the 4th human spaceflight mission by Axiom Space, a private space company based in the USA. This mission is scheduled for launch on 10th June 2025 from the Kennedy Space Center using a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. The astronauts will stay for 14 days aboard the International Space Station ISS. During this time, the mission will conduct around 60 scientific experiments representing 31 different countries. These experiments will focus on human health in microgravity, life sciences and material sciences, Earth observation, space biology. Another key goal is to promote STEM education and encourage global academic collaboration, while also strengthening research partnerships in low Earth orbit, LEO. Now let's look at the international collaboration that makes this mission truly global. The Ax-4 mission is organized by Axiom Space, USA, but it wouldn't be possible without strong international partnerships. Key players include NASA, which provides technical support and space infrastructure, ESA, European Space Agency, which is sending European astronauts. Among the participating countries, 3 stand out. India, with astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla as a pilot. Poland, Hungary. This collaboration shows how space missions today are no longer limited to a few countries. They are team efforts across borders. So, what does this mission mean for India and its space goals? India's participation in Ax-4 is especially important for its upcoming Gaganyaan mission, which will be the country's first human spaceflight targeted for 2027. Astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla's experience from Ax-4 will offer hands-on training that directly supports Gaganyaan. It also benefits India's SpaceX, space docking experiment, and planning for the Bharatiya Antariksh Station, which is India's own space station planned for 2035. Beyond technology, this mission boosts India's global image. It shows the world that India is becoming a serious player in human spaceflight and also strengthens India's role in scientific diplomacy and soft power. Now let's explore how multinational missions like Ax-4 help in both scientific progress and global relations. Scientifically, such missions combine global expertise and cutting-edge technology, enable joint research in microgravity and space medicine, encourage data sharing, which improves outcomes for all countries. Strategically, these missions help nations build space alliances, promote peaceful collaboration in outer space. Project soft power through shared goals, not competition. This kind of partnership ensures space exploration remains inclusive, peaceful, and beneficial for all. Finally, let's evaluate the long-term benefits India stands to gain from participating in Ax-4. Human Resource Development. India will train a new generation of astronauts, engineers, and scientists, preparing them for future missions. Technology transfer. India can adopt global best practices, learn advanced techniques, and adapt them to suit its own needs. Mission readiness. India gains real-world experience in docking, long-duration missions, and LEO operations, improving preparedness for future space stations and lunar missions. Global reputation. By joining such high-profile missions, India enhances its status in both commercial space partnerships and international science networks. That wraps up question 2. Up next is question number 3. Let's continue the momentum. Question number 3 states, define exercise Nomadic Elephant and explain its core objectives. State the key features of the 2025 edition, highlighting the nature of Indian participation and major training activities. Suggest how such bilateral military exercises strengthen defense cooperation and regional stability. Conclude by assessing the broader strategic and diplomatic significance of India-Mongolia defense ties. Alright, now, let's start with what exercise Nomadic Elephant is and why it's important. Exercise Nomadic Elephant is a bilateral military training exercise between India and Mongolia. The core purpose of this exercise is to improve military cooperation and operational coordination between the two countries. The main objectives include strengthening joint counterterrorism and peacekeeping skills, improving interoperability, which means both armies can work smoothly together, enhancing mountain warfare training, and building friendship and mutual cultural understanding. So, it's not just about military drills, it's about building strong ties through shared missions and values. Now let's look at what made the 2025 edition of Nomadic Elephant special. This was the 17th edition of the exercise, held from 31st May to 13th June 2025. The venue was the Special Forces Training Center in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, a fitting location for training in harsh terrain and high-altitude conditions. India sent a team of 45 soldiers, mainly from the Arunachal Scouts, who are experts in mountain warfare. Let's break down the major training activities. Counter-terrorism operations, including sniper shooting, room clearing, and urban combat. Training for UN peacekeeping missions, with a focus on civilian protection and multinational coordination. Cyber warfare awareness, including training for threats in the digital space. Rock warfare, survival drills, climbing, and terrain navigation. Joint exercises that simulate fast response missions and real-time teamwork. And beyond the battlefield, there were cultural exchange activities, celebrating shared traditions and building long-term friendships. But what do such military exercises really achieve in the bigger picture? Let's look at how they strengthen both defense cooperation and regional stability. On the defense front, these exercises build mutual trust and develop a shared approach to military challenges. Soldiers learn from each other's strengths, especially in areas like high-altitude warfare where both countries have expertise. They also align their procedures for joint operations, making them more effective during real missions. In terms of regional stability, these drills promote peaceful military collaboration in a region often affected by strategic tensions. They send a strong message against threats like terrorism, and they reinforce global values by training under UN peacekeeping norms. Finally, let's explore the broader strategic and diplomatic value of India-Mongolia defense ties. Strategically, Mongolia's location is key. It sits between Russia and China, giving this partnership geopolitical weight. The exercise also fits into India's Act East policy, which aims to deepen relations in East and Central Asia. Diplomatically, it reinforces India's image as a trusted and reliable partner, promotes cultural diplomacy, especially since India and Mongolia share strong ties through Buddhism and democratic values. And on a larger scale, it boosts India's soft power in Asia and supports regional peace-building efforts through non-aggressive, cooperative military engagement. To conclude, we can say that exercise Nomadic Elephant is more than a military drill. It is a symbol of friendship, strategy, and shared values. It strengthens India's regional presence, builds defense capabilities, and contributes to peace and cooperation in Asia. That completes question 3. Let's now move to question number 4 and continue this strong momentum. Question number 4 states, critically examine the evolution of India's foreign policy from the Nehruvian era to the post-2025 strategic framework in the wake of Operation Sindoor. How has India balanced moral diplomacy with strategic assertiveness over the decades? And what challenges does it face in maintaining this balance amid a shifting geopolitical landscape and threats from state and non-state actors? Support your analysis with relevant examples and assess the future trajectory of India's foreign policy in light of emerging global and regional dynamics. To answer this, let's begin by understanding how India's foreign policy has evolved over the decades. We can remember this with the mnemonic in SPICE, which captures 6 major phases. Idealism of the Nehru era, 1947 to 1962. Right after independence, India followed non-alignment, choosing not to side with the US or USSR during the Cold War. It strongly supported decolonization in Asia and Africa and promoted global cooperation through the UN. Nehruvian moral diplomacy, built around Panchsheel, non-violence, and respect for sovereignty. This phase focused on peaceful bilateral relations guided by ethics. Shift to realpolitik after 1962 China War. India realized that hard power was essential. The focus shifted to military strengthening, border defense, and building strategic institutions. Pokhran and the nuclear era, 1974 to 1998. India tested its first nuclear device in 1974, marking a clear step toward nuclear deterrence and strategic autonomy. India also refused to sign unequal global treaties like NPT and CTBT. Internal Security and Retaliation, 2019. India adopted a calibrated approach to terrorism, mixing diplomacy with direct action. Example, the Balakot airstrikes, 2019, after the Pulwama attack. Clarity post-Operation Sindoor, 2025 onward. Operation Sindoor defined a new era. India codified a pre-emptive strike doctrine, signaling zero tolerance for cross-border terrorism. The policy is now more assertive, with clear messaging to both state and non-state actors. Now, how has India balanced moral diplomacy with strategic assertiveness? Let's use the mnemonic Gandhi versus Garuda to understand the contrast. Gandhi, representing moral diplomacy. Gandhian values. Peace, dialogue, non-violence. Anti-colonial solidarity, especially with the global south. Non-alignment, standing for fairness in global forums. Diplomacy based on trust, not threat. Humanitarian efforts in countries like Sri Lanka, Nepal, Maldives. Support for institutions like the UN, WTO, and WHO. Garuda, representing strategic assertiveness. Grounded national interest, especially after 1962. Assertive nuclear posture post-1974. Retaliatory strikes, example, Uri surgical strikes, Balakot. Uncompromising on terrorism. Defense self-reliance through Make in India and tech upgrades. Alliances like Quad, India, France, UA Trilateral, and others for strategic reach. India continues to balance both approaches, switching between soft and hard power based on the situation. But this balance isn't easy. What are the challenges India faces? Use the mnemonic chips to recall the 5 main hurdles. C. China's aggression. From Doklam to Galwan and continuing lag tensions, China remains a major strategic concern. H. Hybrid threats from non-state actors. Attacks like 26/11's, Uri, and recently Pahalgam 2025 show the evolving nature of terrorism. I. Image management globally. When India acts preemptively, there's always a risk of international criticism or pressure from rights groups. P. Pakistan's proxy war strategy. Pakistan continues its bleed India policy using non-state actors and cyber threats. S. Strategic realignment pressure. India must walk a fine line between Quad, BRICS, SCO, and its NAM roots without appearing aligned to any one bloc. Finally, what does the future of India's foreign policy look like? Let's remember this with the mnemonic RISE Plus. R. Realistic non-alignment. India won't join alliances, but will form flexible partnerships with countries like the US, Japan, France, and Gulf nations. I. Indigenization of defense. Atmanirbhar Bharat is pushing India to develop its own systems, BrahMos, INS Arihant, Agni series, etc. S. Strategic deterrence doctrine. India is developing a firm but proportional response strategy to any threat, especially terrorism. E. Expanding global role. India is leading in climate action, AI governance, and digital regulation, making it a key voice in global forums. Plus, strengthening strategic partnerships. India is engaging in multi-vector diplomacy, ensuring it has many allies and economic friends across regions. To conclude, we can say that India's foreign policy has grown from idealism to realism, from moral diplomacy to strategic clarity. It faces real challenges in balancing both, but with clear doctrine, smart partnerships, and strong leadership, India is on a path to becoming a global strategic power, not by choosing sides, but by defining its own. That wraps up question 4. Let's move to question number 5, where we'll continue building on these insights. Question number 5 states, critically assess the strategic and operational significance of the PASSEX conducted between the Indian Navy and the UK Royal Navy in the North Arabian Sea. How do such joint exercises enhance maritime interoperability, bolster India's saga vision, and contribute to the broader Indo-Pacific security architecture? In your analysis, consider the geopolitical context, technical cooperation, and implications for India's defense diplomacy. So, let us answer this in parts. Firstly, Part 1. Strategic and operational significance of the PASSEX. Let's break this down using the mnemonic SAIL. S. Strategic projection in the Arabian Sea. The North Arabian Sea is critical. It's where major energy trade routes pass. By conducting PASSEX here, India shows it can secure global maritime trade and project power far from its shores. It also signals strong cooperation with the UK, especially after their Indo-Pacific tilt post-Brexit. A. Alignment with the UK's Indo-Pacific strategy. The UK wants to be a bigger player in Asia. This joint exercise helps implement the India-UK 2030 roadmap, boosting ties under the comprehensive strategic partnership. Now let's switch to the operational side. I. Interoperability enhancement. Both navies practiced complex maneuvers, like helicopter deck landings and joint navigation. These activities help both sides operate smoothly together during real missions, including disaster response or maritime security. L. Live data sharing and communications. They tested encrypted communications, ensuring real-time data exchange during missions. This is vital for future multilateral deployments where coordination speed is everything. Part 2. How it supports India's saga vision. India's maritime vision is called SAGA, which stands for Security and Growth for All in the Region. Let's decode this with the same acronym. S. Security and Stability in the Indian Ocean. These exercises help India maintain safety in critical sea lanes protect from threats like submarines or piracy, and monitor maritime choke points. A. Alliances through joint training. By training with the UK Navy, India builds naval friendships and trust, which is key during crisis response. G. Global maritime partnerships. India strengthens its role as a reliable partner in the Indo-Pacific. This ties into frameworks like the Quad and even ASEAN maritime forums. A. Awareness through maritime domain operations. Exercises improve India's ability to track vessels, spot threats, and enforce maritime laws. R. Regional inclusivity. India promotes the idea that maritime security is a shared responsibility. This is central to Sagar's message. Part 3. Strengthening the Indo-Pacific security architecture. Use the mnemonic PORT to understand how this exercise fits into the broader picture. P. Promotes minilateral and bilateral partnerships. These exercises build stronger ties with trusted navies, creating flexible partnerships outside big alliances. O. Operational readiness for crisis scenarios. Both navies get hands-on training for real-world situations like search and rescue, anti-submarine warfare, or anti-piracy. R. Reinforces rules-based maritime order. India and the UK together support freedom of navigation, crucial against illegal or aggressive maritime actions, especially in contested zones. T. Technical cooperation. Both sides share technical knowledge like submarine tracking, communication systems, and joint naval tactics. This helps build lasting defense capability. Dosto, the PASSEX with the UK Navy isn't just a one-time drill. It boosts India's maritime strength, supports the Sagar vision, and builds India's leadership in Indo-Pacific security. In a world of rising maritime competition, from the Gulf to the South China Sea, these exercises prepare India to act smarter, faster, and with trusted partners. That wraps up question 5. Let us proceed to question 6. Question number 6 states, analyze the strategic rationale and international ramifications of Israel's Operation Rising Line against Iran in light of the recent IAEA non-compliance declaration. How does the evolving Israel-Iran conflict impact regional stability, global energy security, and the non-proliferation regime? Evaluate India's strategic challenges in navigating this crisis, considering its diaspora, energy dependencies, and balanced diplomatic ties with both nations. Let us tackle this question part by part. Part 1. Strategic rationale behind the operation. We begin with the mnemonic line to understand why Israel launched Operation Rising Lion. L. Last straw from IAEA. The International Atomic Energy Agency recently declared Iran non-compliant with nuclear safeguards. Enriched uranium was found at undeclared sites, alarming Israel and the world. I. Ineffective proxy strikes. Striking proxies like Hezbollah or Hamas is seen as treating the symptoms. Israel believes that to truly stop the threat, it must target Iran directly. O. Opportunity in timing. The operation occurred just before 18th October, when some sanctions on Iran were set to expire. By acting early, Israel aimed to block Western diplomatic re-engagement with Iran. N. Netanyahu's domestic agenda. Amid political turmoil, PM Netanyahu is leveraging national security to unify public opinion and avoid early elections. This internal pressure plays into the external strategy. Part 2. International ramifications. Next, the broader fallout, explained with iron. I. Instability in oil markets. The Strait of Hormuz, near the conflict zone, sees 20% of the world's oil trade. Any disruption here causes price spikes, inflation, and global energy insecurity. R. Rise of nuclear threat. Iran could exit the Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT, possibly sparking a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. O. Opposing pressures on the US. The US must balance supporting Israel, protecting its military bases, and containing escalation with Iran-backed militias. N. NPT undermined. If Iran walks out of the NPT, it weakens the entire global disarmament regime, making it harder to negotiate with other nuclear aspirants like North Korea. Part 3. Regional impact on Middle East stability. To understand the local consequences, use fire. F. Fallout in fragile states. Countries like Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon risk deeper instability due to proxy wars and drone strikes. I. Iran's proxy revenge. Iran's allies, like the Houthis in Yemen or Popular Mobilization Forces in Iraq, may retaliate against Israeli or American interests. R. Regional peace talks collapse. Initiatives like Iran-US back-channel talks and the Palestinian two-state solution may collapse under rising tensions. E. Escalation via armed groups. There's a risk of cyber warfare, sleeper cell activation, and trans-border attacks, which could pull more nations into the conflict. Part 4. Impact on India's strategic interests. India is deeply affected. Let's remember this with OLD. O. Oil dependency. 60% of India's crude oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Even a temporary disruption will raise fuel prices and inflation. I. Indians in danger. Over 8 million Indians live in West Asia. Their safety becomes a top priority during regional escalation. L. Link to economic stability. India's shipping routes and trade are tied to this region. Energy shocks directly hit India's growth and supply chains. D. Diplomatic dilemma. India has strong ties with both Israel and Iran. Choosing sides may backfire. India needs to walk a very careful line. Part 5. India's strategic navigation amid crisis. So, how should India respond? Let's use maps. M. Maintain neutral diplomacy. India should avoid taking sides publicly. Back-channel engagement with both Iran and Israel is the key. A. Activate diaspora safety plans. Quick evacuation plans must be in place, especially in UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. B. Preserve energy flow. India should diversify oil imports, including from Russia, the US, and Venezuela, and tap into strategic reserves. S. Stay engaged in dialogue. India can play a moderator's role, supporting IA inspections and non-violent conflict resolution in global forums like UNSC or BRICS. That completes question 6. Let's move on to the final and most important, question 7. Question 7 states, critically evaluate the evolution and strategic impact of drone warfare in the 21st century with particular reference to India's response during and after Operation Sindoor. How have asymmetric threats from UAVs and swarm technologies challenged traditional air defense doctrines, and what institutional, technological, and doctrinal shifts are required for India to secure dominance in this evolving battle space? Alright, let us tackle this question part by part. Part 1. Evolution of drone warfare in the 21st century. Let's begin with the evolution, summed up in the mnemonic wing. W. World War II origins. Drones started as gunnery training targets during World War II and the Korean War. Back then, they were simple and unarmed. I. Iraq War Shift, 1991. During the Gulf War, drones like the Predator were used for surveillance, marking the start of modern battlefield intelligence. N. Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, 2020. A major turning point, cheap Turkish drones like the TB2 wiped out expensive tanks and air defenses. It showed that drones can win wars, not just support them. G. Global asymmetry, 2020s. From Ukraine's FPVs to hot-heat drone swarms, even non-state actors now use drones to punch above their weight. Suddenly, low-cost tech can cripple billion-dollar assets. Part 2. Strategic impact of drone warfare. Next, how drones have changed the game, explained with the mnemonic drone. D. Damage disproportionate. In Ukraine, $1,000 drones are destroying $200 million aircraft. This flips military economics upside down. R. Reach extended. Modern drones strike targets hundreds of kilometers away, like in Israel's Operation Spider's Web or Iran's long-range UAV tests. O. Overwhelming swarms. Hundreds of drones can saturate and confuse defense systems, as seen in Operation Sindoor when Pakistan launched swarms into India. N. New war doctrine. We now see AI-driven autonomous drones, where machines fight machines, changing the very logic of war. E. Economic disruption. Drones attacking oil fields, airports, and power plants can destabilize economies globally, as seen in the Saudi Aramco strike. Part 3. India's response during and after Operation Sindoor. India's response was multi-layered and rapid, summed up by the mnemonic SHIELD. S. Swarm attacks. May 2025. Pakistan launched drone swarms from Baramulla to Burma, probing gaps in India's defenses. H. High alert defense grid. 15 strategic bases were secured with radars, electronic warfare, and real-time intel sharing. I. Integration with civilians. Local police, intelligence, and military worked seamlessly, a vital innovation in internal coordination. E. Emerging systems used. India deployed DRDO's laser weapons, Bhargavastra anti-drone rockets, and the Indrajal drone defense grid. L. Layered defense activated. The Akashtir command system coordinated the IAF's real-time counter-UAV response across sectors. D. Deployment in states. Indrajal was permanently installed in drone-vulnerable states like Gujarat and Karnataka, not just border zones. Part 4. How UAVs and swarms challenge traditional air defense doctrines. Let's understand the doctrinal disruption using FLIP. F. Financial asymmetry. We are firing multi-chrome missiles at drones that cost only a few thousand rupees. That's not sustainable. L. Low radar signature. Many drones evade traditional radars, sneaking through even layered defenses. I. Infiltration via porous borders. India's vast land borders make it easy for drones to sneak in undetected, especially in Punjab and Rajasthan. P. Pacing gap. Swarms move too fast for manual defense systems to respond. Our doctrines are still reactive, not predictive. Part 5. Institutional, technological, and doctrinal shifts needed. We now look at what India needs to do, broken down into 3 key areas. A. Institutional shift, ACT. A. Air, ground integration. Create seamless links between the Air Force, police, and intelligence to reduce response time. C. Corridors for innovation. Make India's defense corridors in Tamil Nadu and UP the new drone innovation hubs. T. Training civilians too. Even traffic police and railway guards should be trained to spot and report rogue drones in cities. C. Doctrinal shift, AIM. A. AI in command. Use AI for autonomous detection and response, especially in GPS-jammed or denied zones. I. International learning. Study best practices. From Israel's Iron Dome and America's M-Shorad to Russia's use of EW systems. M. Multi-layered approach. India must combine radars, lasers, interceptor drones, and cyber tools into an integrated anti-drone doctrine. Conclusion. Drone warfare is not just the future. It is the new normal. Operation Sindoor showed us that India cannot rely on old doctrines. We must evolve quickly, combining AI, local intelligence, and layered defenses. Because in drone wars, it's not about who spends more, but about who detects faster, adapts smarter, and strikes sharper. That wraps up question 7 and the final question of this section. Friends, if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such strategic and high-impact content. For soft or hard copies of the notes, feel free to contact us on the number given below. Till then, prepare well, revise smart, and stay ahead in the game. Jai Hind.